What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Learning 101. Today we're going to do a breakdown on IMRN. If you're new to the stock market or if you're a new day trader, this is what you should be doing every single day. This is how you train your eyes to read charts. We're going to walk through this, break this chart down, and uncover the story between the bulls and the bears. What happened candle by candle? Let's jump into it. The first thing you should know about a stock before you even think about trading it, the first thing I always do is I look at the float. And to look to see what the float of a stock is, you can either use the trading platform that you have. They'll either tell you the market cap, the shares outstanding, or the float, finviz.com or Yahoo Finance. Finviz and Yahoo Finance is what I like to use to find out what the stock float is. For IMRN, this float is 3.2 million. That's a super low float. Anything under 5 million is super low. Another important thing, you want to know what the volume on the day so far is for the stock. What's the average volume that this stock trades? With majority of small cap stocks, they're not going to trade much volume. They'll have one big day where a surge of volume just hits it and it'll get really volatile like it does right here. On this specific day, June 9th, of 2020, IMRN traded 75 million shares from the open to the close. Now that we know the float and the volume of the stock, one thing to consider also is the float rotation. The float rotation is you just simply divide the float into the volume. The float was rotated on IMRN around 27 times. With 75 million in volume and the float being 3.2 million, they've rotated this little 3.2 million float 27 times. That's basic supply and demand. You have to think differently and consider yourself like a detective and a scientist. You have to think outside of the box, test strategies, test, refine, test. That's why you need to have 100% focus when in the stock market. You have to know music playing in your head, focused on what's going on, putting it all together to make sense. We'll actually zoom in on this chart here to the beginning of the day right here. The stock just surges up pre-market from $3 all the way up to around $13 pre-market and opens up right at around $10. That mental level. You have to think, if a stock is going from a single digit to a double digit, $9 to $10, that's a big psychological number. $10 is the second biggest mental price level in the stock market. So IMRN opens up at $10 and just keeps bouncing off of that $10, bouncing off of it and shooting up to $11.50, back down to $10. And you could see it's forming this wedge right here, this little descending wedge. And then eventually, bears win. This pushes down from 10 all the way down to 650, just slowly trending its way down. And when a stock's trending down like this, don't try to catch the falling knife. If the stock is going to reverse or show strength, let it prove to you that it's strong and it's showing strength. And you could just simply do that with just having patience. If the stock is continuously making lower highs and lower lows, it's still in the downtrend. Once that stock starts to make higher lows and higher highs, then maybe you might want to start looking at it as a reversal. And look what happened right here. It started to flatline after making all of these lower highs and lower lows on it. And even with this little candle right here, right there, you see the wick on that candle, the bottom wick? That means the bears were able to bring that price down. There's a buyer right there. The bulls brought it right back up and it closed higher. When you see a long bottom wick on a candle, That's telling you there's a buyer there. And look what happened. Price consolidated right at that level where that wick is on that candle. This is why I always try to say, pay attention to the charts. Every single candle and the trend, what is it telling you? Because the stock will drop hint bombs left and right. That goes for when you're reading volume right here, reading the price trend, the candlesticks, patterns. There's all kinds of hint bombs being dropped everywhere. And we're just breaking down a 1 minute chart. I normally like to have 1 minute charts up, 3 minute charts up, and 10-minute charts up. Now that we broke that down, the stock slowly starts trending its way on up, making higher lows and higher highs. Comes all the way back up to the VWAP. And not only that, the stock makes a big rounding bottom on it. Rounding bottoms are bullish. Rounding tops are bearish. Stock comes right back up to the area it broke through on the downside, comes right back up to that level, and that $10 mental level also. Now you have to think about this. You have a stock with a float of 3.2 million shares. You have to think on the short side now also. When this stock broke to the downside, you have to tell yourself shorts piled in on this stock and they profit from it when it goes lower. When it starts to move up, they're losing money. So that's when shorts start sweating, freaking out, and then if it gets high enough, they have to buy to cover their position. Then it's a true battle right here between the shorts and the bulls. Who's gonna win? Obviously by the chart, this stock comes up through VWAP, busts through $10 and runs up to the day high at $12.50. Now this is where shorts are freaking out. You have shorts buying, covering their position, and you have longs buying, going long. I like to call this a double whammy. When you have a double whammy on a low float stock, this is when you could really see explosive moves. Look at all of this volume that came in right here. When this came right back up, massive waves of volume, massive. So when this stock popped back up and retest the day high here, it got a nice pullback. And don't look at pullbacks as weakness. Pullbacks are supposed to be healthy for a stock. I don't want to see a stock run up really fast up to the high a day and then just break through it and keep on pushing up. That's not showing strength. That's showing FOMO. What I want to see is the stock move up to its high, get a pullback, a healthy pullback, because when it gets that pullback also, you have shorts covering still if they're compulsively jumping in. You have the stock pulling back and you're having buyers enter into it. That demand for the stock, they want to get filled. And when it comes right back up, that's when we get that push up through the high and move up even higher. And you could see right here, even when it pushed up through that high of day, it pulled back slightly too and held as support right at that high of day. And she just took off, running all the way up to $19, almost $20. This stock bottomed out at 650s and ran all the way up to $20 almost, all within an hour. A $13 move, all within an hour. That is amazing, amazing range on this stock. And that's what happened with IMRN. Shorts piled in on this at the beginning of the day because of this failed pattern breakout. Bulls did not give up on this. They brought it right back up, and we got a good short squeeze on it all the way up, and that's what happens. Now if we zoom out on this chart, she topped out right there at that mental $20 level. $20 is another big, huge mental price level. And you could see too, right here, it double topped right at $20. Even if it has that rounding bottom, it didn't push through it because you also have to think of the time also. Right down here, this was trying to break up for new high of day at around noon. That's about the time everybody goes to lunch. So what happens? IMRN pulls back and consolidates all of lunch hours. And then right at around 2 p.m., the last 2 hours of the day, she starts to come right back and she pushes up even higher and makes new highs on the day. Now let's break this down a little bit more. Right here it double topped, right at that $20 mental level. Got a pullback right down to here, making lower highs, holding this $14 level, and it's also holding support where it topped out right there, and even way over here right there if you connect the line. So that's showing good strength right there. And then this slowly started perking up, making higher lows and higher highs, trending up, getting that strength, pushing up right through that $20 mental level. And then look, it pulls right back down. Old resistance right here is now holding as support right at $20. And then we get a push up to 25 and 26. Forms a nice little wedge. Boom. Pushes up to almost $30. Then slowly pulls back and retraces right back to support. $20 right there. Where it held right there was resistance right there. And all right there. Bounces, and look at that surge right off of that level, $20 up to $25. Slight little shallow pullback, pushes right back up to the high of day again right there. And then at the end of the day, she fell apart and went all the way back down. You just see the multiple trading opportunities that you have. This is why I say in a lot of my videos, I use history to guide the future. I consider myself a glorified history buff because I'm always looking at the past to help guide the future. But I'm also thinking outside of the box. Also, I'm looking at mental price levels. Mental $20. Mental $10. Nobody's buying or selling at random numbers. Nobody's selling and buying at 1663. A lot of traders stick to mental price levels. Every 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, $1 mental levels. And we only broke this down on a 1 minute time frame. We didn't even look at IMRN on the 3 minute, and we could do that real quickly right here. On the 3 minute, look at all of these rounding bottoms on it. Rounding bottom right there. Shallow pullback, surges up. Rounding bottom right there, surges up. And then it finally topped out up here at almost $30. It's all about how you look at the chart. It really is. Even if we go and look at this on a 10-minute time frame. 10 minute is like my maxed. I love looking at 10-minute charts. Even right here, look at that rounding bottom on it. And then when it moved all the way up to here and got this pullback, look at right where it bounced at. It bounced right where it found resistance right there and right around in that area right there, holding as support. And I hope you guys like my little smiley face right there. Holding as support, old resistance, holding as support. That's what you want to try to look for as a day trader, swing trader. Old resistance is holding as new support, and off she goes right back up. And even same thing right here too. This area was resistance at one point. It finally surged up through that, and when it came right back down, it bounced off of it right there, went all the way back up, and when it came back down, it blew through it right there. So it's just all about practicing this every single day. Practicing breaking down charts on multiple time frames, breaking it down and trying to tell what the story is, the stock is telling you on the chart. You'd be amazed on how good you will get at this if you just stick with it every single day, breaking down charts, candle by candle, tick by tick on multiple time frames, thinking outside of the box, just putting the basics together. What's the catalyst? What sector is this in? What industry is this in? Going back to the catalyst, what's the catalyst? Because the catalyst is what's bringing in volume. If there's no catalyst and it's a low float, maybe it's a chat room pump and dump. There's many things to consider with low priced, low float stocks. Many things to consider. And it's up to you to put it together and formulate a plan in a trading plan and try to make a profit from that trading plan. There's many things to consider, like I've said. This past week, low float Chinese stocks have been hot. IMRN, JFIN had a big move this past week. GNUS had a big move this past week. WINS had a huge move from $10 up to $63 in one day. CHNR having a big move. WAFU and then CTIB. A lot of these are China related stocks. So many of them exploded the previous week. The stock market is very trendy. Very trendy. You're going to see a lot of trends come and go, like the blockchain and Bitcoin craze a few years back. We had a lot of those cargo ships explode and take off for a moment. Dries, DCIX, tops, low float reverse splits was hot for a second. Now for the past couple years, low float Chinese stocks have been popping up and taking off. And Chinese stocks are kind of weird, and I highly recommend a movie that everybody has to check out. It's called The Chinese Hustle, or The China Hustle. I highly recommend watching that movie. There's a lot of shady business in the stock market, and there's multiple ways you can capitalize in the stock market. It's just up to you to do the research, put things together, and the more you study and learn this game, you'll actually see how people make a living doing this. It really is fascinating. It really is. But that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Leave comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Join the Trading Learning 101 community where we all grow as traders and investors. Leave comments down below. Did any of you get in on the action from the previous week when all of these Chinese stocks were just popping and exploding? Until next time, everybody, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. Later, everybody.
The most valuable commodity I know of is information.